Hi,
Hello.
today we are gonna talk about living from reality. So, this is the best way of living, this is the only way of living actually, and from here, from clarity, you cannot have an anxiety.
So there are two ways of experiencing life. On the one hand, you can experience it the way most of the people do, which is from their minds, from their mental interpretation of what reality is. And on the other hand, you have experience of life, which is direct, which isn't based on people's interpretation of what reality is, but it is clear, pure perception. Can you talk about it?
Yes, yes, you explain both of them uh, in a good way. Yes, the first way is the usual way of living life by living in mind. This means that people live according to their mental stories.
Mhm.
They have an idea about the reality, about God, about life, about themselves, about everything that surrounds them. So most of the people live having an idea about everything. So they live according to um, all these mental stories, which all are created by their mind.
Mm.
And the fact is that mind is a mechanism which creates ideas, which creates theories, which creates concepts abstract. The mind cannot be reality because the mind creates thoughts. All thoughts are just ideas, so thoughts are not real. People confuse thought with reality. So that's why people live in suffering. People take their thoughts as realities. People think that all their mental stories, mental scenarios, even if they are good ones or anxious ones, they think that all of these mental stories, all of their thoughts are real, are
Mhm.
reality. So this is the reason why people suffer from anxiety, depression, confusion, insomnia, and so many mental disturbances that all are caused by this mechanism which creates mental stories which are not real. So mind creates imagination, ideas, theories, and the reality is beyond all of them.
Mm.
So the second way to live life is living by seeing the reality as it is, and the first step is living from the present moment. This means that all the attention is directed to the present moment.
How can you do this?
There are some practices, and you work with the attention because attention is prior to the mind. So you can overcome the mind, all these theories, all these ideas, concepts, by using the attention. So there are some practices which are very effective, and of course simple, that you can teach people to live according to the present moment. It is a practice that, of course, you have to do moment by moment without any interrupting.
Mhm.
And some practices that will teach people how to put their attention moment by moment on the present moment. because the present moment is the only moment that is real. As we talked, the past is only a memory. The past is mental, and of course, the future is only imagination, because now you can think about tomorrow. Of course, you can imagine anything about the future, but the future is not real, because the only moment real is this one, is the one that you can see. And working with their attention, we teach people how to put the attention again and again until they reach this state, which is called present moment.
A state where you can really and truly experience what is in front of your eyes.
Of course, yes, it's a shift from living in the mind, living with the attention kept in past memories, past stories about the past or future. Of course, anxiety only survives when our attention is about the past, when something bad happened, and of course, when our attention is kept in the mind that creates worries and worst thing that could happen.
In the future.
Yes, in the future, of course, all of them are mental. All of them. The past is mental, and the future is 100% just imagination. And from the present moment, people will have a direct experience of what is actuality, and they'll understand by themselves that all the mental stories are just imagination, and that they'll have a sudden release of all anxieties.
I think it is very important to point that you cannot have this experience of the present moment just by talking about it.
Of course, yes. Yes, this is the huge difference. And yes, I want to talk about this aspect because it is very important. It's a common mistake that people make. They think about the present moment, they think that they live in the present moment. And the present moment is not a thought, is not a belief, is not something that people can reach with their minds. So it's something that people can experience when their full attention is here. And of course, by putting the attention again and again here on the present moment, uh, it will make,
Way?
yes, through thoughts.
Yes.
So the present moment is beyond thoughts. So the usual way of living is looking at, let's say, the present moment, but people see their thoughts, their, as you said, their mental interpretation. So people see the reality through their minds. So the difference is that they'll make some space between thoughts, and they can have some glimpses of what is the present moment. And when they'll see, even if it's only a glimpse, they will understand that all their mental scenarios are just stories and nothing more. And regarding to anxiety, this is a beautiful, direct way to overcome anxiety, but we have to work with the attention, because as you said, it is not a mental understanding, it is an experiential one.
People are so used to living in their minds, they don't realize it. They say that average person has between 50,000 and 70,000 thoughts per day. So
Yes.
basically, since one gets up in the morning until one goes to bed at night, one is constantly stuck in this mental flow.
Yes, yes.
So
They don't have any pause from their mental working, from their mental world, from thoughts. Let's say in a simple way, from thought. People live with their mental noise constantly. They don't have a second without all that mental noise. They are so used living with that mental noise that most of them didn't don't see, don't recognize, are not conscious of the fact that they have thoughts
Mm.
or they have anxiety. But most of the people live with that mental noise, and that mental noise can be eliminated completely. All you need is a gap between the thoughts and to see what is beyond thought. And you can only do this with practice, but with a practice that you can apply in every moment, a direct practice that you can apply in every moment, anywhere. And this is the way. This is the way to freedom. This is the way to happiness, to divinity. It is not a mental way. It's by eliminating the mental noise, the mental stories. And of course, because we talked about anxiety, anxiety is only a mental story. Anxiety is not real. Anxiety symptoms are real because the body lives according to the mind, to the mental stories. But let's say simple, in a simple way, the body live where is the attention. So if the attention is kept in mental negative scenarios, the body will leave them. But if you take the attention from there and put it on the present moment, the body will live only which is here.
So this is the way to cure anxiety, because from what I know, there is no cure for anxiety in modern medicine.
Yes, because most of them are based on talking, analyzing mental fears. So it's like the ego, which is the mind, which is that mechanism that creates mental stories, function if you function if you put attention to it.
Hmm.
So if you talk about mental fears, the mind will have some
Food for growth.
yes,
So you feed the ego.
yes, you feel the ego if you talk about it.
And if the ego is anxious, you will make a bigger anxious ego, which
Yes,
will create more fears.
yes, yes.
That's why anxiety gets worse and worse.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yes. Reducing or overcoming anxiety means to reduce that mental noise, to reduce that mental scenarios, that mental stories, not to raise them by putting any attention to them. The dog is agree with us. Agrees. Bye.
Bye.